Today I'm going to rank the best movies in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Let's get with it. Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, and what a nightmare it is. This movie is just a joke and an unfunny one at that. Freddy's a terrible comedian who should have been booed off the stage a long time ago. The dream sequences, especially the power glove, are corny and almost unwatchable. And those dream demons are so fake. Maybe Freddy died as much from shame as anything. It's no wonder this is Cody Leach's least favorite horror movie. There was an idea floating around to show Freddy in his pre-dream demon days as the child serial killer before the parents murdered him. That was a brilliant idea. Why no one ever did it is beyond me. It sure turned out a lot better than the crappy remake. It took a surprisingly long time to remake the classic original. Even the much less commercial Last House on the Left got remade first. It's the only movie to not feature Robert Englund as Freddy, and guess what? The replacement sucks. Jackie Earle Haley is a good actor, but he makes a terrible Freddy, and they replaced the classic practical effects makeup with fake-looking CGI. This is by far the worst-looking Freddy ever seen on film. Robert is sorely missed. Yes, the movie would have still sucked without him, but even with the bad Freddy movies, he made them tolerable with his charisma. And Rooney Mara is a terrible Nancy, which is not surprising since she made it clear she didn't even want to be there and didn't even try. I always thought she was ugly and hot at the same time. Maybe that's not the right word, but she has an unconventional attractiveness, and I usually like her, but she's no Heather Langenkamp. They made a mistake making Freddy an unabashed child molester here. It was always an open question what Freddy did with the kids before, but here he is a no-doubt child rapist, and it's impossible to relate to or like someone who does that stuff. So while the original Freddy was charming, this one was just disgusting. I don't hate this as much as everyone else does, but I agree that it's a poor adaptation of the classic. Oddly enough, this film was the highest grossing movie in the franchise. There are some cool scenes like the roach kill, which is one of the all-time greatest kills ever, and somehow Freddy gets resurrected by a dog taking a whiz. Yeah, I didn't stutter. And I actually like Alice a lot. She starts off as this kind of nerdy girl, but by the end she becomes a hot, cool chick. She's definitely the best final girl in the series besides Nancy. But sadly, this is the film where Freddy turns into a corny comedian officially. The icon we all knew and loved has now been permanently replaced by this cheesy imposter. What a shame. The fifth film is often hated as one of the worst, but frankly I don't see how it's any worse than number 4. I actually dig the plot. Freddy inhabits the dreams of Alice's unborn child and uses them to kill her friends. Unfortunately, Freddy is even more annoying here than he was in the previous film, and he almost ruins the film for me. But that scene where we see a grotesque baby Freddy being born is unforgettable, as is that scene where he feeds the weight-conscious babe until she dies. Unfortunately, the mixture of dark scenes and comedy is a mismatch. Let's get to the giant pink elephant in the room now. This movie is really gay. I remember when I saw it as a kid, not knowing anything about gay culture. I still felt it was a bit off, and I didn't like it at all. But as an adult, I have grown to appreciate it much more. The filmmakers have waffled on the film's gay subtext, but to me it was obvious. And finally, after years of speculation, the screenwriter admitted what we all knew already. This was purposely gay-conscious. If you think about it, Freddy is a manifestation of the main character Jesse's fear of his latent homosexual tendencies and a representation of the battle between his straight and gay side and his fears of becoming gay. He has this cute little girlfriend, but every time something goes wrong, he goes running off to his macho male best buddy instead. Of course, there's that creepy bar scene and that S&M inclined coach, too. Oddly enough, Mark Patton, the main character, would come out of the closet after the film. Honestly, that was about as big a shock as Freddie Mercury coming out of the closet. It's like, what? That was supposed to be a secret? He screams every bit as loud as the normal scream queen, and that dance he gives would be criticized by Michael Jackson for being too feminine. At the end, when his girlfriend saves the day, the message is clear. Freddy and Jesse's gay instincts are gone, and now he has been saved by a straight relationship. But the film has great imagery. Freddy looks better here than he ever did, and he's still an evil boogeyman and not the annoying failed comedian he would soon become. Most people hate the fact that he comes into the real world, but I thought it was cool. The scene with his massacre at the pool party and where Freddy possessed Jesse and comes out of him are some of the best scenes in the franchise. Yes, it's kind of bizarre at times, and Mark Patton's not a particularly great actor, but I still like this movie a lot. Yeah, I'm probably the only straight guy who likes it, but so what? New Nightmare is my second favorite movie of the franchise. Granted, it's not really a nightmare movie, but so what? Wes Craven was disgusted with Freddy's dead like we all were, and he came back to the series to end it on a good note. Here, all the actors from the original film play themselves. Nancy is now her actress Heather Langenkamp, and she is absolutely gorgeous. She was always hot, but now she's just beautiful. She's even more pretty now than she was as a young lady. The film is set in the real world, where the Nightmare movies were just movies, and Freddy as we know him doesn't exist. However, there's an ancient unnamed demon that has always lived with us and has to be held down by stories to keep him from entering our world. He has taken Freddy's form because Freddy is the most popular monster now. And now that the Nightmare movies are over, he is no longer held back, and he's trying to enter the real world. Wes Craven is making a new movie to keep him locked up, and the things he writes in his script are happening in the real world. I love this film. It's got the best plot of any of the films, and the dumb jokes are gone, and Freddy is now the imposing boogeyman of the first three films like he should be. He also looks more realistic this time. The kills are kinda lame though, and it's a bit slow paced, which is why it's at number 3 instead of number 2. There is a small but vocal minority of fans who prefer number 3 to the original. I'm not with them, but I can understand where they're coming from, because this film has the best kills and action of the entire franchise. Wes Craven hated the second one so much, he returns to co-write this one. It's no coincidence that the best films in the series were the ones he was involved in. Nancy returns as the adult mentor to the last Elm Street kids of the parents who killed Freddy. She teaches them to use their own dreams to their advantage and become dream warriors. The kids are exceptionally likable here, and the special effects are great. We also find out that Freddy's mom was a nun of all things, who was accidentally left at a mental institution and raped by 100 maniacs, one of which was obviously Freddy's dad. The only problem is Freddy begins turning into a comedian in this one, but it's tastefully done here, and he's not annoying yet. I also hate that Nancy dies at the end. I know what they were going for, but I don't like Nancy getting killed for any reason. I rented this movie from 1999 in an old video store downtown called The Outpost. That place no longer exists. But before they went out of business, they sold all their old VHSs, and this same movie that I rented as a kid, I bought as an adult, and I still have it today. Yes, it's the boring cliche choice, but it's also the right choice. The original Nightmare on Elm Street is still the greatest movie in the franchise, and one of the best horror movies of all time. Check out my original movie review for this that I made earlier. See you later on the Hillbilly Review channel.